webinar. So please stay with us today because we are going to talk a lot about our topic. So we are going to talk about culture, and we will learn with you some new adjectives related to the culture and some confusing words as well. So right now we are going to talk more about what culture is, but I think you know that when we're talking about it, we are talking about some particular things as painting, theater, cinema, dancing, architecture, literature, poetry, sculpture, and etc. So today we are going to talk more about different artists, about different types of culture, and about concerts, exhibitions, and etc. But to start with, let's have a small check-in, and can you write in the chat what type of culture do you enjoy watching or maybe doing? So, for example, do you often visit cinemas or theaters, or maybe you go to some exhibitions, to the museums, and etc. So please write in the chat, and then we are going to start our main topic and our discussion of different words and vocabulary. Okay, good. So we can have different types of Ukrainian culture. So now we can see that Ukrainian theater gets popular, some Ukrainian literature, we have a lot of different authors, new poets, a lot of writers. Yeah, that's true. So we have developed culture right now. So now we are going to start talking about different artists, and here you can see 8 different pictures, and your task is to choose the correct word related to the picture. So let's start with the first man, and there we can see what he is doing. So what do you think? Who is he? Actor, sculptor, director, breakdancer, or etc. So let's see. Okay, you think he is a director? Okay. Any other ideas? So actually he is an actor. So there we can see that he doesn't kind of like help this process, like guide this process, but he is filming, like he is shooting some video there or some film. What about letter B? So we have got a man and he is doing something. Okay, good. The second is conductor. That is true. So it's dirigent. I'm sorry. Okay. Now the next, it is C. I think it's easy one. Magician. Okay, it may be, but let's check the words in the box. So C is ballerina, that's true. What about E? Good, it is sculptor. Yes. So she is making some sculpture, as we can see. Let's move on to the next man. Okay. This is a musician. That is true. Okay. What about F? Okay, F, it is a break dancer. Okay, good. Thank you. What about E? Oh, I'm sorry. So there we can see that we have got a camera, like somewhere there. So she is a director. Yeah, that's true. And the last letter J was cameraman. Okay, so what we can learn from this task, that when we talk about people who are doing some type of job, we can use suffix or "r" to make some job. Sculpture, sculptor. Acting, actor. Conduct, conductor. So here you can see how to make some jobs. And now we are going on and talking about artists. And now we have 10 more artists, but now your task will be to match the artist with the definition of it. Some words can be already known for you, some words can be new. So let's check the first word, and here we have with you busker. So who is it? Just let's take a look at the definitions and choose the correct option. Okay, you think that the busker is the person who sings and plays music in the street. Yes, that is true. It's like, yeah, a street musician. Okay, choreographer. So I think this word is already known for you. So this is the person who designs dance sequences. Okay, that's true. What about illustrator? Okay, illustrator, it is the person who draws pictures for books or magazines. That is correct. Voice over artist. I can see that we have a lot of people that are active today. That is nice. So please keep working as you work right now. Okay, for it is I, and this is true. It is a person who narrates stories, acts on the radio, but is never seen. Yeah. Okay, stuntman. Stuntman is the person who does dangerous things in films. Okay, good job. Pavement artist. Pavement artist is the person who draws pictures on the road. So for example, when you have the text about pavement artist, we can take a look at the word pavement and road. And sometimes we can have one statement but already rephrased. So it is an artist who draws on the pavement, for example. Okay, comedian. Who is this person? So you think it is a person who makes people laugh. And that is totally true. Okay, let's move on to the cartoonist. All right, so cartoonist, it is the person who draws funny pictures. Okay, thank you. The next, script writer. This is the person who writes dialogues for films and TV shows. So the last will be, we have disc jockey, and there we have got with you H. It is the person who plays music on the radio and in the clubs. So here we can we can have two words, illustrator and cartoonist. So the main difference between these two people is that illustrator works for some books and magazines, and cartoonist, it is a person who usually draws some funny pictures. We can see them, for example, next to the seaside we usually have, or in the city center, and we call them caricaturist. So here you can see this main difference between this word. And now we are going to move to the next task. So today we have a lot of different words. So if you feel that you need to take a screenshot or to write some words, please feel free to use these words and write them down if you need them. Because sometimes when you have the text, you can see different words that are related to culture and you may not remember their meaning. And we are going to move on, and there we will the same talk about different artists. And now we have got with you different types of artists. These are composer, writer, poet, novelist, photographer, band, and playwright. And now you can see that the first word is already given, so you need to use this to make to complete the sentences. And let's start with the first sentence. Lewis Carroll was a British. He was there of 2 long stories and several nonsense poems for children. Okay, yeah, so I think here we have an easy one. So he was a British writer and he was the author. Let's move on to the next. And here we have Flash is a famous film about So here we have got a film about a famous photographer. How can you understand it if you didn't have letter P? You can have flash, yeah? It is the sound of the photograph. Of the camera, I'm sorry. Next, let's move on and let's take a look at number 3. There we have got there, Hilary Mantel has won many awards for her books. So there we are talking about novelist. Okay, good. Let's move on to the next. So here we are talking about American who wrote several plays before World War II. So here we need to work with you with playwright. So it is a person who writes plays. Okay. So we have the French Verlaine's poems sound very beautiful when you read them aloud in French. Okay, poet, that is true. Let's move on to the next. It is amazing that Beethoven wrote music when he could no longer hear. So here we are talking about composer. Okay, and the last, number 7, the most famous pop the world has ever known must be the Beatles. So there we need to use band. So please pay attention when we talk about musical group, people who play music. We are talking about band, not group. So don't say musical group. We need to say band when we relate to the people who play music. So now we are going to move on. I think it's clear when we use a writer, when we use poet, novelist, so we will not focus on this time, on this topic, but a writer is something general when we talk about people who just write some stories. Novelist, it is the people, these are people who write stories or some huge, for example, books. So they have some fairy tales, maybe. Poet, it is a person who just works on poems. So I think we can move on. And as I told you before, we have different branches of culture. And now I want to take a look at different words related to different spheres. So there can be movies, films, books, and etc. So now let's take a look at the first 5 words and think what branch of culture can they relate to. If we have with you chapter, bestseller, paperback, index, or cover, what is it? So, you think it is literature. And actually that is true. So, we are talking about books here. Let's move on to the next. And if I'm not mistaken, we are going to talk about this part. So, blockbuster, 3D, special effects, extra, scene, soundtrack. But if I had a mistake, you can also write the answer for this one, for interval, curtain, act, and scene and set. Okay, so this topic is related to theater. So you were correct. And you also talked about films. That is also true. So please remember some words that are related to theater and some words that are related to films. Then let's move on to the next. And here we have was you sketch, oil painting, landscape, portrait, still life, and self-portrait. So I think that is clear. What topic is it? So this is a topic of I can see art. Only one variant. Yes. So here we have art. And the last, lyrics, tune, album, instruments, and orchestra. This is about music. Yes. So if you don't know any of these words, please write in the chat. We will discuss them. If you understand them, we will move on. And now, I can see your answers. Okay. And we are going to move on. Good. Then, of course, when we are talking about culture, when we have with your use of English, especially, we face such topic as phrasal verbs. So now, we will have with you 7 sentences where you need to put the correct preposition to make the correct phrasal verb. So there we have with you out, that will be used 3 times, up, that will be used 2 times, over and down. So now I want you to start with the first one and think what we can put here. I can see already 2 options, sold out and sold up. So let's think. Okay, so you think it is sold out or sold up, and sold out, that is totally correct. All the meanings of these phrasal verbs we will discuss later. What about number 2? My mom used to make bedtime stories for me and my sister every night. All right, make up. Thank you very much. Let's move on to number 3. And here we have with you Jack Manning took the role of Hamlet when Patrick Lester became ill on stage during a performance. Okay, you think it's over, and that is correct. Let's move on to number 4. Stephen King comes with some amazing ideas for stories year after year. All right, so comes up with ideas. Number 4. People from TV talent shows tour the country looking for good singers. Looking out. Okay, looking out for good singers. Yes. Okay, number 6. Daniel Day-Lewis stands in any film he appears in. He's brilliant. Okay, Mikola, pay attention that we don't have 4 in our words. So maybe we have a different word here. Look down, look out. Oh, stand, I'm sorry. So there we have look stands out. Yes. And the last, I don't read the reviews where the critics run films simply because they don't like the topic. Okay, that is true. Run down. And what about the meaning of all of these words? Of course, when we are talking about makeup or sold out, that is kind of like clear for you. I think most of you know these words. But when we talk with you about some other words, we may have some problems. So first of all, when we have with you sell out, or usually we say something is sold out, like tickets are usually sold out. So there we understand that it is розпродати or розпродані when we have sold out. When we talk about make up, we can make up something new. We can вигадати щось, right? For example, I make up new sentences when I work on the webinar. So I kind of like create them, right? Next one, when we talk about take over. So here in this example, we had that Jack Manning took over the role of Hamlet. So he kind of like, він перебрав свою роль на себе. Тобто він замінив цю людину. So take over the role. Next, come up with. It is mostly the same, like similar to make up, but it when we have with you make up, it's more about creation. Yeah, like come up, it's when it appears in our mind suddenly. So I came up with some idea, for example, тобто я не задумував, але я його придумав якось, воно мені вилізло в голові. Look out for, it is шукати. For example, I'm looking out for young leaders to have them in my project. So я шукаю щось, вищукую нові якісь таланти, наприклад. Stand out, it's виділятися. So here we have Daniel Day-Lewis, який виділявся в будь-якому фільмі, в якому він з'являвся. And run down, it's критикувати. It's знищувати, тобто, можливо, навіть не виправдано, але знищувати щось, because, for example, they don't like the topic. So let's repeat all these words. Sell out – розпродати, make up – вигадувати, take over – перебирати, come up with – придумувати, вигадувати, look out for – шукати, придивлятися до чогось, stand out – виділятися, and run down – критикувати. So now, we are going to work more with our words, and of course, I said that today we are going to talk about some adjectives. And when we talk about adjectives that are related to culture, we don't have a lot of them, but some of them can be tricky. And we are going to start with you with such pair of words as historic and historical. When we are talking about historic, these are things that are important for history. For example, the signing of this treaty was a historic event. Тобто у нас, коли ми говоримо про historic, це щось важливе для історії. But when we are talking about historical, this is something that is related to history. She loves reading historical novels. So, вона любить читати історичні романи. Yeah? So, there we have got with you this kind of like example. And the same, economic and economical. Economic – це те, що важливий для економії. And historical and economical, it is something that is related to economy. Okay. So now let's move on to the second pair, and there we have classic and classical. Classic, it is something very kind of like ideal, I would say, something that takes like the top place of something. So there you can see the translation. Is it classic? It's видатний або еталонний. So Pride and Prejudice is a classic novel. Тобто це щось видатне, і от воно якісне, і еталонне, на нього всі спираються, так скажемо. But when we are talking about classical, this is something that relates to traditional, understandable culture. For example, he plays classical music. So here we talk about класичну музику, right? And let's move on to the next. And there we have with you cultural and cultured. So cultural, it is the same as historical. It has some connection to the history, to culture. For example, the city has many cultural festivals. So there we have got місто має багато культурних фестивалів, подій. So something related to history. But cultured, this is the word that is related to our level of intelligence. So these are освічений, вихований. So he is a very cultured person. Usually we say that the person is cultured when he reads a lot of books, knows a lot of different facts, is interested in history, in art, and etc. So this is a person who is cultured. So let's sum up. Historical. Historic – it's важливий для історії, historical – пов'язаний з історією. Classic – видатний, еталонний, classical – пов'язаний з античністю або традиційною культурою. Cultural – пов'язаний із культурою, cultured – освічений, вихований. And we have got two more pairs of these tricky adjectives. These are artistic and artful, and literary and literal. When we are talking about artistic, there we have with you творчий, мистецький. So she has an artistic talent for painting. У неї є творчий, є потенціал для малювання, наприклад. But artful, it's хитрий, спритний. He gave an artful excuse to leave early. От він прям щось видумав таке цікаве, хитре, хитрий excuse to leave early. And when we are talking about literary, to literature, літературний є. He won a literary award, but literal, it's буквальний, дослівний. This is the literal meaning of the word. Тобто, це буквальне пояснення цього слова. So, please remember these pairs of words for you like to understand the difference and understand when we need to use each of these words. And of course, we need to practice these words to check whether you understood it or not. And we are going to start with you with the pair of words historic, historical. And let's check what we need to put here. The museum is hosting an exhibition of historic or historical documents from the Middle Ages. Okay, you think it is B. Okay, actually that is true. Because there we are talking about some documents that are just related to the history. But it's not like maybe they are important, But there we are just focusing that these documents are just historical. Вони просто історичні, ці документи. Вони не важливі, можливо, важливі, але тут на цьому фокусу немає. She is known for her artistic or artful photography, which captures deep. Okay, so here we have with you artistic, yes. So she has got very creative photography, yeah. Okay. Number 3. Beethoven is one of the greatest classic or classical composers of all time. Okay, B, right. Why can't we use A? Because we already have one of the greatest. Один з найвидатніших є, найкращих. І ми б ще сказали видатних композиторів. No, we need to say that he was just classical. Він був класичним композитором. Okay, next. Number 4. This library has a great collection of novels from the 19th century. I can see A, and that is true. Okay, good. Number 5. My grandfather is a very cultural or cultured person who enjoys opera and philosophy. Okay, guys, when you are writing the answers, please write the number of the sentence because I can't understand what question you are answering right now. Okay, B. Of course, we are talking about grandfather. We are talking about person, so this person is cultured, освічений. That's true. Number 6. The festival includes many performances, such as traditional dances. All right. Yes, that is cultural performances. Культурні, yeah. Виступи. That is correct. The Eiffel Tower is a historic or historical landmark visited by millions every year. Okay, here we need to use with you A. Okay, thank you. So it is important for history. Number 8. The writer received a prestigious literal or literary award for his novel. Literary. I will wait for more answers. Okay, so there I think it's clear. It is literary. Літературна нагорода. Okay, he made an artistic or artful move to convince the audience of his argument. Okay, so he made хитрий рух to convince the audience of his argument. Okay, and number 10. The literary or literal translation of this phrase doesn't make much sense. Окей, literal. Буквальний переклад, дослівний переклад. Okay, so let's return a little bit and repeat all these words. So, historic. This is the thing that is important for history. Historical. That is connected to history. Artistic. That is something creative. Artistic. Artful. It is хитрий. Classic. Видатний, еталонний. Classical. Класичний, традиційний. Sometimes. Cultural. Культурний. Пов'язаний з культурою. Cultured. Той, що освічений, вихований. And literal. Буквальний, дослівний. Literary. It is літературний, пов'язаний з літературою. And now I want you to use these words. Choose any word you like and write in the chat the variant of your usage of one of these words. So, for example, I have seen one of the popular historical movies today. Just write any sentence you like. And while you are writing, I can see that one person wrote that economical, it's пов'язаний з економікою, and economic, це економний. For you just to know that we also have these words, this pair of words. So thank you very much for your help. But now we are working on writing our sentences. For me, just to check whether you got like the main message. Okay, yesterday's morning was a historical moment. Okay. All right. I am a very cultured person. Good. Classical music is the best music in my opinion. Okay, will we have any other ideas? Yeah, Ira, a very nice sentence. He didn't understand the play of words due to the literal translation. Okay, that is nice. So now we are going to move on, and of course when we are talking about our test, about culture, we have with you some different collocations and some words that are used in in the combination. And now I want you to take a look at the dialogue and choose the correct option between two of them. So now we are going to start with the first dialogue. Please read it and choose whether we use do or make notes. And while you're doing this, I am reading your sentences. I'm proud of you because you got a prestigious literary award. Good. Okay, so we don't have a lot of examples more, and we're going to start. The first one is, of course, when we have nouns, we need to make them. So we already discussed with you collocations. So if you want to revise the topic of collocations, you can take a look at our previous webinars and see we had different examples of collocations related to the words do and make. So for you to practice and to repeat them. So the first one was make note. Number 2, we have put or write. Okay, everybody forgot this gap, so please take a look at it. Put and write them up. Okay, there we need to use put. Put them up. Okay, thank you. Number 3, so you already chose, yes? That is did research. So we do research, not make it. Number 4, has Miss Jones chosen or cast the school play yet? Has Miss Jones cast the school play yet? So what is cast? It is the people who were chosen for the school play. Набрати людей. So cast. Yeah, I think you know this word when we talk about films. So we have cast of people. These are main like actors. Okay. Next, Kathy is playing or starring Juliet. She's a bit worried about learning her words or lines. Yeah, we have it like a noun, cast як акторський склад, і cast це набрати акторів as well. Okay, so she is playing Juliet. Yeah. Okay, good. And next, she's a bit worried about learning her lines. Yeah, that is correct. Next, let's move on. And we have Adele's been selected or shortlisted for another prize. Here, pay attention to the context, because she'll win. So whether she was selected or shortlisted. Yeah, Ira, starring is more about cinema, that's true. So, what about this one? You think it's selected, and actually this is shortlisted. Shortlisted, it's when we have, for example, the nice example, it's Eurovision. We have with you long list of participants, and when they have another like second round, they make a shortlist. Тобто їх обрали в ось цей якби менший список. Тобто вже відібрали в першому раунді якихось учасників, і от в другому раунді, тобто вона потрапила в другий раунд, в шортліст так званий. So, because there, if we have Adele's been selected, we won't have she'll win. якщо ми кажемо Адель вже вибрали, то це ж ми ж не можемо поставити she'll win, because it's not logical. So, she's also just recorded or sung a new album. Yeah, that's true. This cultural vocabulary is a bit specific, as you said. But you just need to kind of like learn, or at least have them on mind when you read some texts. So, she has just recorded. That is true. We can't sing albums. We can sing songs, but we can record albums. Okay, then let's move on. And we have got our school is making or putting on a show at the end of term. Okay, here it is putting on, because there ми ставимо, ставити it's putting on a show. Okay, I'm practicing or playing the piano in it. I'm playing the piano in it, that is true. That's great. You'll steal or win the show. Of course, yeah. Here it's a specific phrase. You steal the show. So it is kind of like a collocation fixed phrase. And the last, yeah, that's true. Win було б дуже просто. And the last, yes, if I get or make it right. If I get it right. So here, as we can see, this task was kind of complicated, and if you need some translations, you can take a screenshot and work on this vocabulary more. And now we are moving to the last task of today's webinar, and let's practice more reading, because we sometimes forget about it. And now we are going to talk about virtual choir. So now your task will be to read the text, and you have got only 4 questions to answer. But let's revise with you how we work with texts. When we have with you the big text and only questions, not like fill in the gaps, but only questions, what should we do first? Firstly, we look through the text to understand the main idea. After that, we look through the questions and the answers to see what we are looking for in this text. After that, we are focusing on the details. For example, why is Eric's Whitaker music so popular? You don't need to read it like whole, you need like to check the main ideas there. And then you choose the correct option. So now I will give you a little time to read, and we will check with you the sentences, the questions. I can already see some answers. Okay, let's start with the first one. And yeah, as you said, it is D, because his music doesn't fit just one category, as we have got with you words like this music bridges the gap between traditional classical music and the popular music that people enjoy today. All right, then let's move on to number 2. C A So here we have got with you B, as he started his virtual choir after he was impressed by the video of some girl. So, and then he had this amazing idea, because there you can see that this paragraph talks about competition, some contest, but there we don't have any idea why he started it. But the main idea was in the third paragraph, so please pay attention. And number 3, what is unusual about the Flight to Paradise video? So this one is already easy for you. And that is C. Here we can see that he recorded his song with the voices and faces of 5,000 people from 101 countries. Okay, and the last, I think it is the most difficult sentence, like to catch the main idea of the text. So in the article, the writer you think it's C? B? Okay, that is B. So there we can see that here the writer encourages singers to do something new, as here we can see enjoy singing, then read something that may interest you. So there you can take a look that here the main message is to try something new and to see what is the best for you. So that will be all for today. Next time we are going to talk more about phrasal verbs. So we today already started talking about phrasal verbs, and next time we are going to move on. So please don't forget to join us on Thursday. So thank you very much for being active, and bye bye.